Good afternoon, everyone. We are so excited to have you here for our first session of our webinar series, Unlocking the Power of Artificial Intelligence. And thank you for joining us as we look at stepping into AI together. So we are excited about this four-part series here at the Friday Institute. And we have a self-assessment that we'll ask you to complete here. We're going to ask you to complete this once right now, and then the link will be posted later on in our webinar this afternoon. And then if you choose to join us again, we'll have that link and update information there to share with you about where folks are in their feelings towards AI and their fluency levels in it. So thank you for joining us. Please feel free to use the links that are posted there in the chat. And throughout our session, we'll also be asking you to engage via a Padlet and some back channel questions for you. Wanted to take a second here to introduce our two facilitators that will be joining us. I'm Emma Broughton. I am the Director of Digital Learning, and I am pleased to have with me Amy Walter, who is a research scholar here with the Professional Learning and Leading Collaborative at the Friday Institute, and also Jackie Stevens. So thank you for joining us. We hope that we have a good 45 minutes to get today to share with you some of the things that we're thinking about when it comes to AI and building awareness and interest in what it can do for you as educators and for your students in the classroom as well. I just should mention that we are bringing this content to you here from the Friday Institute. For those of you who are familiar with the work of the Friday Institute, you know that we have a long-standing history here of serving North Carolina and beyond. And really, it's been focused on our research, our policy, our practice. And of course, as we think about AI, we immediately want to think about what do we know? What is good research? How do we create those guidance and guardrails for what that can look like, especially as we bring it into practice for classrooms and for educators there? So when I think about how this work translates, I'm really thinking about what this means for our educators and their empowerment, how we can offer hands-on guidance to them to foster AI fluency, and then really to transform teaching and learning. And so that was really our mission and our goal for why we wanted to bring this series to you this afternoon. And starting with building that awareness and interest was those three key indicators for what we like to do and have a passion for doing here at the Friday Institute, and then what we can do here with AI as well. So I've mentioned a couple of times that this is a webinar series. And so I do want to highlight that, again, this is our first session that you're seeing here today. It's really built around that awareness and interest in AI, your curiosity, and what's the purpose for using AI. But then our second session is thinking about, okay, how do I evaluate the right tool for AI for me to use? Our third session thinking about, how do I go ahead and try this with my students and what that can look like? And then finally, our fourth session, where we get to the point of thinking about that full adoption and advocacy, where it's integrated into your practice and you're sharing with others, showcasing the good work that you're doing around using AI in the classroom. I'll go ahead and ask Jackie to introduce you to our content here for our first session.
Thanks, Emma. So artificial intelligence, AI, it seems relatively new. And with this newness and change comes some questions, I'm sure curiosity, and there's definitely some caution involved, as there should be. Educators can't ignore AI because it has the potential to empower personalized learning, tailor educational experiences to individual students' needs, and ultimately boost student academic achievement. Also, AI-driven tools can streamline administrative tasks, free up educators' time for more impactful interactions with students. And we know that ignoring AI means overlooking the imperative of preparing students for a tech-centric future. So this would leave our students without essential skills for a competitive edge in an evolving job market and world. So with all that, we have provided for you during our time together a space to share your voice and your thoughts. We invite you to make use of this AI with the FI back channel. And you can use the space to chat with each other introduce yourselves in a different way, and but more importantly, highlighting some key questions that we've started for you to reflect on and answer, a space for you to share your thoughts and experiences using technology, using AI in your educational practice. So you will see this link, go.ncsu.edu/AI FI back channel in the upper right-hand corner of the slides in this webinar periodically. So we encourage you to keep that tab open and share your insights and thoughts. Our goals during this time are together creating the space to begin to cultivate awareness and understanding of the current applications of AI in education, including its benefits and challenges, and building upon our foundational knowledge of AI and building towards fluency. And before you leave, you will also have the opportunity to define a specific learning objective for yourself professionally, such as exploring a particular AI technology or developing a project related to AI in education, or even something as simple as attending our next webinar.
So what does AI do? We want to set a little baseline so everyone is on the same page. AI works by taking in lots of information. We give it lots of information, and then it finds patterns and insights. With each piece of new information, AI gets a little smarter and better at making predictions or decisions. So it's not just about following instructions, it's about learning from experience to make smarter choices. So what's the big deal about AI now? We've had it for a while. Generative AI refers to artificial intelligence systems that have the capacity to create or generate new content, such as text, images, or even music based on patterns and data that they have from existing examples. Computers, separate from AI, process and manipulate data. They excel at executing predefined instructions, following algorithms, and performing tasks based on rules. They are highly efficient at tasks they've been explicitly instructed to do. AI is a part of computer science that focuses on creating systems that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. Generative AI involves using computer programs and algorithms to enable machines to generate new content or make decisions by learning from existing data. So the key distinction is that computers in general are tools that follow predetermined instructions, while AI, particularly generative AI, has the ability to learn from data and generate new, novel content or make decisions that were not explicitly programmed, mimicking aspects of human intelligence. AI is more adaptive and capable of handling tasks that go beyond straightforward rule-based computing. So what's different about AI now? Generative AI has revolutionized the field with several key advancements. AI tools are now widely available thanks to open source software, cloud computing, and educational resources that have democratized AI. This shift has allowed a diverse group of people to innovate and contribute to the AI field. AI is everywhere in our lives, from the virtual assistants in our phones to the algorithms suggesting what to watch next. Its presence across various sectors is changing how industries operate and how we interact with technology. With advancements like reinforcement learning, AI systems are now adept at making decisions, learning from their actions, and optimizing outcomes in complex scenarios like driving vehicles or diagnosing medical conditions. AI can now also generate text, images, and code that seem human created. Models like GPT 3.5 understand context and semantics, producing content that aligns with human communication patterns. This is a really big leap from rule-based approaches of the past. We also have the latest AI systems that are not just predictive, but more accurate, robust, and versatile in their predictive capabilities. They enable applications that were not possible with previous machine learning technology. AI can analyze huge data sets to predict trends and outcomes and learn from their predictions, adjust their parameters, and improve their accuracy. The evolution of AI has been remarkable, shaped by how easy it is to get, how common it is in our lives, and how well it can make choices, its ability to create, and its ability to predict. This shift has brought us to a new stage where AI is deeply woven into the fabric of our daily existence and society at large, not merely serving as a tool, but as a critical component that shapes our interactions and decisions. Only natural that we would talk about it in education.
Imagine a library, but instead of books, it's filled with an immense collection of words, sentences, and ideas. This library holds the collective knowledge of humanity, with texts spanning countless subjects and languages. In the heart of this library, there's a machine known as generative AI. It doesn't think or dream like humans, but it is a master of patterns and connections. When you provide generative AI with a starting point, it's like a sentence or idea. It's as if you've shown it a key to a particular section to the library. The AI, like a diligent librarian, scours the shelves for relevant information, gathering sentences, phrases, and facts to match the context. But here's the real magic. Generative AI doesn't just copy these passages. Instead, it weaves them together like a skilled storyteller, creating something new. It blends words, ideas, and tones to generate fresh content that can be anything from stories and articles to poetry and art. This AI doesn't understand in the way that we do, but it knows how to mimic human language and creativity well. It has learned from countless examples in the library, becoming proficient at crafting coherent and engaging narratives. The result is a piece of work that feels remarkably human, despite being composed by a machine. It's as if generative AI has harnessed the wisdom of the library to craft something unique, providing a glimpse into the endless possibilities of the human-machine collaboration.
So, like Amy has shared with us this afternoon, we have AI around us all the time. We've been using AI for a while, but there are some differences to what we're doing with AI today that makes it more accessible, makes it more prevalent. And it's something that's going to end up being disruptive and transformative in our lives. And so, what we wanted you to do is have a minute to back channel with us and have a conversation about these 2 points for reflection and for anticipation. When you think about how technology has changed our lives so much in the past, what are some of the technologies that have you've experienced as disruption, maybe in your personal life or in your professional world? What did you learn from that change? And then really, how can we anticipate how AI can transform what we do with teaching and learning? And so I would invite you to uh, join us in that back channel link that Amy has posted there that will take you to a Padlet. I want to give you a minute or two to be able to post what are those things that have been disruptive? What have you learned from them in the past? And how can that help inform how we will have a transformation with AI in teaching and learning in our present, really, and in our future as well? Okay, let's think about then some of the ethical concerns and fears. I think it's hand in hand when we think about all of the great ways that this AI can transform our learning. It's also important for us to think about, okay, we've got some cautions and some ethical concerns and fears that crop up that may have been part of conversations that you've already had. And I think it's important for us to be able to address those as well. Amy, would you like to share a little bit more about those?
Sure. I think that there are schools who and organizations that have blocked AI, and that is a concern with equity and being able to have everyone have access. I saw a tweet or an X, whatever we call it now, that said, if you're not using AI, you're not going to get left behind. You're already behind. But we need to be aware that there are hallucinations and misinformation that comes from AI. I think of it as AI is kind of a friend who doesn't want to disappoint me. So if it doesn't know the answer, it will make something up. There is proven bias in research against members of BIPOC communities, people with disabilities or other issues. And then there's the freemium or limited credits on some of the AI tools that are coming out. We also want to be mindful that there's a gray area we know from the writer's strike and the actor's strike around intellectual property and copyright protections. AI is trained on vast amounts of data. They, scraped the internet for this information. We need to be aware of where we're getting that information and what we're doing with it. Also, there are some programs where your data may be mined. What you put in there is not necessarily private to you. And I know there are people who say that there are AI detectors. They do not detect AI. It has been shown, even ChatGPT, I think they pulled pulled back their AI detector because they were like, it's not reliable. And we need to remember that AI should do no harm. We are using this as a tool to help us move forward, not as a way to hurt others. And there are bad, creepy people out there, and we have to be aware of that as well.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. I think something that's been really helpful for me, and I'll tag it here as a note, is the AI Bill of Rights that has been published in this past year related to how we think about and shape our ethical concerns and our fears around AI, and how we have a responsibility as educators, and so do all of our creators and AI engineers and computer scientists, and what they are developing. But with that in mind, we know that it's not going away, and we really have to be thoughtful about how are we going to step into this space, and be mindful and thoughtful about what that looks like for the transformational power of artificial intelligence. And so as we had thought about how we were going to shape our piece of information here for this first session, we wanted to make sure that we were talking about what could be really important and incredible here as we are thinking about artificial intelligence for our educators. And so this first session then is built around your awareness and interest in what this can be. And moving forward into our further sessions, we'll have opportunity then to dig into it more deeply for how you can use it to build efficiencies and to improve your instructional strategies and practices, trying it with students and then adopting and sharing. And so this was a model that has been around for 50, 60, maybe 70 years now, around how consumers adopt things in their lives. And it's called the diffusion of innovation research. And for us here at the Friday Institute, it's been important for us to think about, so how are people going to go ahead and adopt AI into their practice? And I keep coming back to that same expression of AI fluency. And so, Jackie, if we move forward into that next slide, we want people to think about, okay, so then during this webinar, how do we develop our own AI fluency? And what's the scale for that? And is that AI fluency going to be different for other people and other roles than it is for yourself and the people that you work with, the students that you work with? Right now, we are really looking towards our Gen AI as the platform that we are using, but we know that there are other places under development. We know that our students are going to need to know how to use AI themselves, but also how to develop AI platforms and large language models and work with that in order to be proficient there in their future careers as well. So we wanted to get a good feel for where folks were in the crowd with our self-assessment. This is the same link that we shared with those of you here at the beginning of our session. And so I'm sharing it again to make sure that we are collecting that information and really using it to inform where we go with each of our sessions, where your fluency is, what your indicators are, kind of collecting the landscape of our audience too, what's happening in your schools, in your districts, or in your work practice as well. Finally, when I am thinking about specifically AI fluency for educators, I really am thinking about their capacity then to understand, to apply, and to adapt those AI technologies effectively. And like I mentioned, that's really going to ebb and flow based upon what a person's role is. So this is something that you will see again and again in our conversations about AI. How do you understand it? How do you apply it? And how do you adapt it in your daily work life, maybe in your personal life as well? I want to turn it over to Amy to share a little bit of an example for how this is possible with ChatGPT, which is probably one of the most popular and brand recognizable versions of AI right now. Amy, if you go ahead and share that with us.
Sure. So I am lucky enough that I get to work with teachers, and we use ChatGPT to help us create some practice problems and assessments. So here's my video recording of my example. So we identified who we were. We said we are fifth grade math teacher. What we wanted 5 word problems to help students multiply and divide numbers greater than 12. You can see my typing speed here. We added a detail about our students. They love sports. Now, if you have written any sort of practice problems in your life, for any content area, you know that this can take significant time. But you can see AI is quickly creating a variety of problems for us. Didn't speed that up. It just happened very quickly. I then was like, you know what? We need some problems that are more complex. We have some kids who are moving faster than others who are like, make a problem with fractions, make a problem with decimals. I didn't give it more information than that because we're in the same conversation. It remembers what I asked it to do, and then it created those two more problems, still with that sports theme. And I was like, wait, we need an answer key for all 7 problems. So it created that answer key for me, which is awesome. Sometimes if you especially like have a sub or you need someone else to help you with scoring, even giving it to the kids to let them self-check. After you have practice, you need to assess to see if kids got it. So we asked the ChatGPT to make assessment items using the same skills. I did narrow the numbers. I said 12 and 50 instead of above 12. And I did ask for it to make 6 questions total, and it's delighted to do so. Made my 6 questions, multiple choice. Did mix in fractions and decimals because I remembered that I had asked for that before. It went very quickly. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I also need an answer key for that. And can you include the steps that students would take? Because that's really helpful if I'm trying to pinpoint where kids maybe went south if they didn't get the right answer. This, again, huge time saver. It was very exciting. Then I thought about, when kids need a second chance, we need an alternate assessment. And I've spent a lot of times with teachers trying to make an alternate assessment, and it's hard because a lot of times you do your best on the first one. ChatGPT was delighted to do one that was parallel. But I was like, don't do sports this time. Use nature. Can't always do sports. And so, of course, it said, certainly, here's an alternate assessment with a nature-themed word problems, still following those same parameters that I did at the beginning. Now, I will say we have to check each of these problems, right, to make sure they're actually what we want. But in less than 3 minutes, we've created a set of practice problems, an assessment, an alternate assessment. We've personalized it for our students. This is a huge time saver. So that is one example where we've been able to use it, and it was just great. I think that everybody, you'll notice, like, I prompted ChatGPT, like we were having a conversation. It wasn't one and done. I said, do this, and then give me this, and then give me this. We started, though, I've kind of discovered through my own like messing around that if I start with a good solid first prompt, I get more like what I want initially. So I use Raft. A lot of people know this as a strategy you can use with your students, where you say, here is your role, here is your audience, here is your format, here is your topic. So Raft helps you get better results the first time. And then you can continue to prompt the AI if you want more or less or different outputs. So if you look at this chart here, these are just some of the things that I've done where I say, all right, you're an English teacher, you're working with struggling readers. I need you to direct them to write a 3 to 5 paragraph essay. And it's on this actual topic. Interestingly, it did know what that topic was without me spelling it out. I think more detail at the beginning is good. There are other types of AI that are specifically crafted for teachers. They have already, like, what format do you want? It will prompt you. But if you think about Raft, you're going to be able to get some of those solid results right away when you are working with ChatGPT or another type of AI like that. So just to kind of drive this point home, if you think about Raft, role, audience, format, and topic, you see prompt 1. If you put in, what should my motto be this year? You're going to get some wild results. That is not a very focused prompt. It doesn't give ChatGPT, Bing, Bard, whatever you're using, enough information. So if you look at prompt 2, and we used Emma for this. That's Emma's lovely picture there. I'm an established female leader with 22 years in public education. Write a personal mission statement in 3 sentences appropriate for a brief professional bio. So we have the role, we have the audience, we have the format, and we have the topic. That gives ChatGPT a really nice way to get started so you get the information back that you want. So now, if you don't have a ChatGPT account, it is your turn to get one. It's pretty quick. If you do have one, go ahead and log in, and we would love for you to try a personal prompt or a practical prompt. We have some suggestions on the screen, but think about how you can make them like a raft, right? See if you need to add a role for clarity. See if you need to add an audience, the format, the topic. Some you don't, some you do, but we want you to take a few minutes and try this out.
So for those folks who are brand new to Chat GPT or to AI, go ahead and follow that link that's posted there on the screen, chat.openai.com. Create your account. There are several things that you would be able to try here to make it personal or to make it practical. We'll go back in just a minute to the raft guidelines that Amy was talking about. But really, when you're thinking about building awareness and interest, that curiosity and finding purpose, you want to think about first, how do I make it personal and have a big or quick win for myself? And then how can I start to apply it and think about some practical purposes? So if you're brand new, feel free to jump in now, take that first step and create your account and play around with that chat bar there and see what kind of output that you might have. But if you are someone who's been experienced with ChatGPT, we would love to get some of your ideas for how you have made things practical and purposeful, how you've given it some chance to play around with some of those tools in your personal life as well. So if we go back to our back channel Padlet, you'll see there are 2 columns. We would love to hear more of your examples from the audience today for how did you make it personal? Share some of your examples for how you used ChatGPT or another AI platform. We'd love to hear or read that prompt that you used as well and what kind of output that you got, you received. And then if there's been a practical use for it, we would also love to hear that as well. So there's a column to explain some of those things and in our back channel. So take a couple of minutes, dive in. Chat GPT, if you're brand new or if you've got some experience and you want to share some of the work that you've been doing and the successes you've had, use that back channel for us. So we've asked you here to take a step into using ChatGPT and then to sharing with us. For those of you who might not be as comfortable with starting with a tool like ChatGPT right away, you may want to think about using something like Canva. Many of educators have free accounts in Canva that give you all the pro features, but Canva keeps releasing some really amazing AI tools that are add-ons to its product. And if you haven't played around with some of the image generator features in Canva, I would really highly encourage you to do that. It is an option for you, especially if you're leery of creating a new account somewhere else. So here you can see on the screen a panda riding a bike through a city. I asked it today to have a penguin on a rooftop in Argentina, and it created a really cool picture. So I would encourage you to play around with Canva and that image generator. That is an easy step into the world of AI images, especially when you're thinking about your students. Jackie, I'd love for you to give us the challenge for today for what our next steps can be when we are thinking about our AI fluency.
Yes, thank you. So we want to give you a moment now to think about a personal professional goal that you want to give yourself for your next steps related to AI integration into your practice. What is that going to look like for you in your practice in the context of your learning environment, your students? So we invite you to reflect on that, and we to go a step further to post your commitment in the social media platform of your choice using the hashtag AI with the FI, kind of proclaiming to the world that you are moving forward with these steps. And we want to be able to highlight you with that hashtag. So set a goal. What's the next step for you? What feels comfortable? It could be small, it could be large, just as long as you are finding that awareness and interest to dig in more. Like we said, this is a series, and we do have our next webinar scheduled, and you can register for that at any time. Our next webinar is going to be called Navigating the Maze, Evaluating AI for Effective Teaching. And this webinar is designed to guide educators in exploring the potential of AI in their work as an instructional leader. So by delving into AI ethics, we're going to be looking at AI tools, and we will demonstrate how educators can test and evaluate the value of AI in their teaching practices to impact both efficiency and purpose. Because again, if it doesn't have a purpose, why are we doing it? So in the chat, you could see if you want to learn more and register for the next webinar, perhaps that's going to be your next step in awareness and integration, going further with AI. Go to go.ncsu.edu/AI with the FI webinars. And if you want to contact us with ideas, questions, or further outreach, our email address is on this slide, ai@ncsu.edu. So in the time that we have together, which is, it's gone very quickly, we want to give you a moment to give us feedback as well. We are designing these webinars with you in mind based on what you want to talk about. So in the chat, you're going to get yet another link. And yes, we're going to give you all of these links along with, we'll repost the link to our published slides for this webinar. But please take a moment to give us some feedback. It helps us grow, but it also gives you a chance to inform us of future webinars and content you would like to see. Additionally, in this feedback form, you have the option to participate in an AI with the FI Learning Lab. So what this is the Friday Institute is seeking digital leaders implementing AI in their educational practice. So not only will we feature you in your work in an upcoming webinar, but AI with the FI Learning Lab aims to create a network of educators using AI and willing to share their expertise, their experiences, and artifacts to showcase at regional, state, and national levels. So we want to highlight you, we want to spotlight you, and if you're interested in participating, let us know in this feedback form. This collaborative effort will enrich the teaching and learning experiences for digital implementers across our globe and enable educators to collectively address the challenges and opportunities presented by AI. So as promised, we've mentioned a lot of things. We've mentioned a lot of links. And where are we getting our information from? And what are some good resources to dip your toe in the water if this is very new to you? And perhaps there's a few here if you are been following AI. Maybe there's something here that you haven't seen. So in our slide deck, you can have access to all of these slides, or you can find them in one easy place. We've started a Wakelet place for all of our resources, and you'll see that link in the chat as well as in the upper right-hand corner of our slide. So this is where you're going to find additional resources to dive into, explore, and reflect on. In the time we have remaining, if you've got questions, we might have some answers. So please feel free to add your questions into the chat. We would love to continue the conversation.
Awesome. Thanks, folks. We have a lot of things that we've shared with you here at the end of our webinar. This was intended to give you kind of a taste, to pique your curiosity and your interest, to build your awareness around AI and what it can do. And so we'll dig in our next webinar session to really think about how do we navigate that maze, right? So I'd encourage you to think about what is your AI with the FI goal for building your AI fluency, and think about in the next couple of weeks, if you are able to join us, what does that look like as you continue to move forward and take further steps into the world of AI independently with your colleagues or with us here at the Friday Institute? Really appreciate you. Thank you so much for being a part of our afternoon. We'll stick around here for a couple of minutes. If you would like to add a question here in the chat, that will come to us here as webinar hosts, or if you'd like to contribute anything to that back channel Padlet. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you soon.